After weeks of resisting shutdown measures, the U.S. state of Florida has finally given in to pressure. The governor has ordered residents to remain at home. Georgia and Mississippi have also joined the lockdown. So that leaves only 5 states without any form of official orders to stay at home. The number of infections in the U.S. has surged past 245,000. 6,058 people have died. Simon Marks joins us live from Washington, D.C. Simon, so experts such as Anthony Fauci have urged stay at home for all U.S. states. Why hasn't this been done yet?
Yeah, well, for weeks, Anthony Fauci behind the scenes has been urging President Trump to institute some kind of a national lockdown. The difficulty here lies in America's federal system. President Trump is very much advancing the argument that it's up to each of America's individual 50 states and each of those 50 states' governors to determine their own specific response to coronavirus. That's partly because the conservative Republicans philosophically believe very strongly in something here called states' rights, the rights of individual states to govern themselves. It's why President Trump characterizes the federal government at a national level as backup for those states, particularly, for example, as far as the distribution of medical equipment is concerned. So there's a constitutional reason why it's falling to each of these individual governors to make their own decisions, but there's also a political reason. If President Trump were to embrace the concept of a national lockdown, he would then essentially own it. He would own its success or he would own its failure. And at the White House, there is nervousness about the president making a move like that because he still wants to have the political maneuverability, for example, as he did just yesterday, to say, well, if New York had acted earlier, things there might not have been as bad as they have turned out to be. So, for a whole variety of reasons, we're still in a situation where a handful of states have not introduced any kind of a lockdown.
Well, Simon, moving on to another sort of topic, with the shutdown in many states, initial job claims have shot past 6 million, but it could be weeks before checks that they could be receiving will be mailed out. Why is there such a sort of disparity or a disconnect, if you like, and how are people that need the money going to cope in the meantime?
Well, it's going to be very tough for those people who do have to wait for checks. I mean, the Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin at the White House last night insisted that the vast majority of people are going to receive direct deposit into their bank accounts within days, certainly not weeks. He kept saying, you're going to get the money, you know, a couple of days after you contact us, if you still need to contact us and provide us with your direct deposit details. But he was pressed on this issue because officials at the Internal Revenue Service, who are the people actually dispersing the money, say that individual citizens who don't have direct deposit details lodged with the government, or maybe don't even have bank accounts that can accept direct deposits, may have to wait until the summer for physical checks to be printed and put in the mail. And Steve Mnuchin acknowledged, using a phrase last night that was interesting, that there were Americans out there who he said were underbanked. And those people may well have some kind of a delay. He said only a couple of weeks, not multiple weeks, for the money to reach them. So this is going to be an unfolding aspect of the story economically for those people who need the money, and the government concedes people need the money fast. Do they have things set up in their own personal financial arrangements for the rapid receipt of that money? It's a big issue.
Yeah, many challenges to come. Thank you very much for that update. Simon Marks speaking to us from Washington, D.C.